Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Bron and today is day 4 of DCP week. I hope that you all have been enjoying these videos and that they've been helpful. So here we are with day 4 and this is going to be all of the things that I wish I knew before my Disney college program. The first thing that I want to talk about, I guess sounds and seems a little bit counterintuitive, but it's that you don't have to know everything before you get there. As the program has grown in popularity, as social media has grown, as a whole DCP community of Instagrammers and YouTubers and all of that kind of stuff has grown, I feel like you can find so much information about the program. Now obviously this is a great thing and it's a great resource to learn as much as you can. However, I think it's a very important thing to know that just because you can't find all of the answers to your questions doesn't mean that you need to like freak out or anything. Like I've said tons of times this week, the DCP is always changing, so information that you get from somebody else may not be the same that holds true for you. I promise that you will learn everything that you need to know during your time as a cast member, that if you don't know every single detail beforehand, you will be okay. I think one of the most beneficial things that I learned through this program is really how to advocate for myself and being able to ask for help when I need it. I really don't know if any of that made sense. It made sense in my head. But yeah, all in all, it's okay if you don't know every single thing that's gonna happen during your Disney college program before you even get there. Disney does a great job in training you in your role and just being a cast member in general. It's not necessarily like a requirement that you know how to do everything before you even get there. Disney doesn't expect that from you. Another thing that I wish I knew before my program was that not every single day is going to be magical. When you hear Disney, you think of magic and fun and happiness, and I feel like a lot of people expect their Disney college program to go just like that. Again, through social media and everything, I feel like the DCP is painted as this glorious thing, which at the end of the day it is, but it also is a lot of hard work. I know for me personally, I like to keep my channel super positive, so I don't always talk about maybe if I had a bad day at work or I'm feeling super duper stressed because I'm overworked. That I know, again, for me, it's not that I'm necessarily trying to hide those things of the program or hide that from y'all. It's just that I want my channel to be a super positive environment. At the end of the day, being a part of the Disney college program is still a job. You don't always want to go to work. You're gonna work long hours. You may not get along with every single one of your fellow cast members, and that's okay. Now don't get me wrong, I definitely had more good days than I had bad days, but I think it's important to go in with the mindset that, okay, I'm going to have bad days through this and that is okay. Along with that, I think it's really important to take time for yourself. Normally when the program first starts, you're just so excited to be working, that you have park access, that I feel like you can kind of lose yourself really quickly in that. Setting time aside for yourself to de-stress and kind of remember who you are, I think is a really important tool in having a great program. I know that networking is a huge thing that a lot of people want to do during their Disney college program. I am a very big believer of the Disney college program is what you make of it. A lot of people use this program as kind of a door opener into the company because they maybe want a job that's higher up within the company. I do think that the DCP is a great way to get your foot in the door. However, doing the DCP doesn't necessarily guarantee you a job with Disney in the future. Like I said at the beginning, being able to advocate yourself is a huge thing with networking. Being able to step up and find the people that you want to talk to, people that work the jobs that you maybe want to have one day. Being able to go to your leaders and see if they can help you find the people that you might need to talk to if they're not necessarily the ones. I feel like that's kind of the thing with Disney, is that nothing's really gonna fall into your lap. If there's something that you want to do or that you are super interested in, you need to go out yourself and find those resources. It is more than possible to network during your program, but you really need to make that a priority if it's something that's important to you. I feel like I've kind of talked about this in all of my videos this week, but I think it's really important to stay optimistic throughout everything. I see people all the time that get upset, whether it's about their roommates or their role or their location that they get, but I think it's really important to go into the program with an open mind and not get your heart too set on something. I feel like if you go into the program already a little bit disappointed, you're gonna find all of the faults and things that are wrong with what's going on with your program. Whereas if you go into it with a little bit more of an open mind and a lot more excitement, it's gonna be a much better program. I know this video is getting a little bit all over the place. I had a couple bullet points that I knew I wanted to talk about and none of them really tie together, so on to the next topic, which is budgeting. This is probably one of the #1 things I get asked, and it's just how to save money and budget throughout the Disney college program. I know for me personally, I can 100% check my privilege when I say this, that I really didn't have any bills or anything that I had to pay during any of my programs. I don't have student loans, I didn't have like car payments, anything like that. All I had to pay for was my life in Florida. Especially if you live in CP housing, it does help a lot that that money is automatically taken out of your paycheck, so you don't have to worry about that. However, between paying for gas, paying for groceries, and just having enough money to pay for things in the parks, it does get really hard to save money, especially during this last program, because I knew that I wanted to stay with the company past my DCP and that I wanted to get out of housing. I tried to set aside at least 20 to 30% of my paycheck every week. As soon as Thursday hit and I got my paycheck, I would immediately put that money into my savings instead of just sitting in my checking, so that way I wasn't as tempted to spend it. I also, and even now I do this to save money a little bit better, I go to the grocery store quite a bit because I normally try and buy things as I need them. So if I know that I want to cook something for dinner, I'll go that day to buy the stuff to cook it. So that way I'm not buying a week's worth of groceries that's gonna go bad before I can get to it. Budgeting in the parks is where it gets harder, because the second you walk in there, you just want to buy everything. From about mid-October to mid-February, cast members get 40% off of merchandise, which normally we only get 20%. So if there's something that you know that you want, try and wait until you have a bigger discount on it. Now, if it's something specialty that may not be around when those months hit, then obviously go ahead and buy it. 20% is better than nothing. However, if it's just a basic Magic Kingdom pin or something that you want, that 40% off can really make a difference. I also always try and give myself at least a day to think about the purchase that I want to make. When you're in the heat of the moment, buying those 8,000 plush seem like a great idea, but down the road, is it really something that you need? If 24 hours the answer is still yes, then by all means go and buy it. But I think one of the best ways to save money is to try your hardest not to impulse buy things. I know I also spend way too much money on food in the parks. Normally I don't go to the parks as like an all-day extravaganza unless I have like friends or family in town. So on the days that it wasn't going to be all day, I tried to have as many meals at home as I could. So trying to limit at least the number of meals that I eat in the park helps save a little bit of money. I also get kids meals everywhere I go. One, because I don't eat a ton, and two, the portions really aren't that much smaller than the normal meals, but they're about a quarter of the cost. Along with all of this, I want to talk about some of the benefits that you get of being a Disney cast member. So like I said, during the holidays you do get 40% off of merchandise, but the rest of the year you get 20%. There are some blackout dates like around the holidays and stuff, some of it kind of goes away, but for the most part you do get 20% off of all merchandise. You also do get a self-admission pass, which gives you access to all of the theme parks as well as the water parks. Now there are certain blackout dates that go along with that, but for the most part, most days of the year you can get into all of them. The self-admission pass also works in all of the Disney parks around the world except for Tokyo. So if you're trying to plan a trip out to Disneyland, in California, in Shanghai, anywhere, you still can use that same pass and get in for free. Based on the number of hours that you work, you can also receive guest passes to use on friends and family. When you complete Traditions, you get one ticket, and that is, if you do like another program, you don't get another ticket. The very first time you do Traditions is when you'll get that first ticket, and you'll never get another one again for Traditions if you have to do it again. But after that, all of your tickets are by hours worked. So once you work 150 hours, you'll get 3 tickets. Each of those tickets is good for one person. So if I were bringing in my mom and my sisters, 1, 2, 3, those are their 3 tickets. They are park hoppers, which is nice, so you can go to all of the parks throughout the day. You don't just have to stay in one park. Once you work 300 hours, you get another 3 tickets. So now we're up to, I guess, 7 tickets altogether. And then you'll receive your last 3 after you work 600 hours. So during your program, you'll get a total of 10 tickets. I don't know necessarily about the spring program, but I know for the fall program, we get a little packet during the holidays, which gives you another 3 tickets. So technically you'll get 13 altogether. Those tickets only work while you are an active cast member. So after your program ends, if you don't extend or go full-time or part-time or anything like that, you can't use those tickets anymore. If you come back to the company at a later date, like I know for me, there was a couple months in between my 2 CPs and I had some leftover tickets, I could still use those because they're good for 2 years, but that 4 or 5 months that I wasn't a cast member, I couldn't use them. Another benefit of being a Disney cast member is that you get tons and tons of dining discounts as well. Once you start your training, you get access to like the Disney website, we call it the Hub. They have lists of all of the places on property that offer dining discounts. There's some places that offer 40% off, some that offer 20% off. Again, just like your self-admission pass, some of them do have blackout dates, so be aware of that before you make a dining reservation. Those discounts are offered for tons of the different restaurants within the parks, at the resorts, as well as at Disney Springs. I also just think it's smart to always have your company ID, your blue ID, on you at all times, because there's tons of places just around Orlando that also offer a cast discount. I always just make sure anytime I check out anywhere, I ask that they do a cast discount, because a lot of the time places do and you may not expect it, and even if it's just 10% off, you gotta count those pennies where you can. A lot of the resorts also offer discounts throughout the year. Those you can also find all on the Hub, and they change all the time. They range from 20% to 50%, and there's no guarantee that the resort you want to stay at is gonna have a discount, so be aware of that. But especially if you haven't stayed at a lot of the Disney resorts, that's a super easy way to get a cheaper stay. I know I've stayed at some of the value resorts for like less than $100 a night, which compared to normal price is a huge discount. One thing that I always talked about doing on my program, and I never did, was to stay at a resort with my friends. I obviously obviously stayed at the resorts when my family would come to town, so I still have stayed at a lot of Disney resorts, but me and my roommates always wanted to chip in a little bit of money each and like spend the night at the Grand Floridian or something, have a super bougie vacation. That does get hard to do because your schedule is going to be a lot different most likely than your roommates, so it's not always easy to find a night that everybody could do it, but definitely try and take advantage of that huge discount when you can. One of the things that I wished I kind of realized, I guess, a little bit earlier into my program is how quick the time is going to go by. I think having a bucket list is one of the easiest ways to make the most of your time during your program. It's really easy to try and put things off and say, oh, I'll do that next time, I'll do that next time, and then next thing you know, you have 2 weeks left of your program and you don't have time to do all of these things that you want to do. If there's a restaurant that you really want to try, if there's a resort you really want to stay at, if there's a ride you've never been on that you want to do, if it's in your head and you have the time, just go and do it. The last thing that I want to talk about is what you should pack. I know that I'm a huge hypocrite talking about this at all because I am the queen of overpacking, but pack as light as you can. I know for me, I always brought so many clothes and all of these things that I thought I was gonna need. You don't need any of them. I spent so much time in my work costume that I rarely ever even wore my normal clothes. And if I did, I normally just threw on some shorts and a t-shirt and called it a day. I also went shopping a lot, so I bought a lot of new clothes during my program and then ended up not wearing a ton of the things that I brought. So you really don't need as many outfits and things as you think that you are going to. I know for me, to make anything feel super homey, I like to have a lot of decorations, if you haven't guessed, from my room. Although it is super fun to decorate your apartment as cute as you can, it's not a necessity, and like I said, you don't spend a ton of time in your apartment. So if you're tight on space or you're flying, don't worry about packing too many things. There's a Facebook page called like Disney College Program Trading Post, I'm pretty sure is what it's called, that always has CPs that are normally moving out that are trying to get rid of as many things as they can. So if you're in need of like fairy lights or bed risers or even bedding, they always are selling things on there, and they're normally super cheap, like way cheaper than you'll get if you just head over to Target or Walmart even. That's a great way to get a lot of things, especially if you know that you're flying for the program and you're only going to be able to bring like a suitcase. You don't want to fill it with just things to put on your walls. In addition to that, if you're going to bring things to put on your walls, the only things that you can use to hang are command hooks, so make sure you have a large supply of those. Florida is a very, very rainy place, so make sure that you have a good umbrella, a good rain jacket, something that is going to help protect you when those Florida downpours start to hit. Although you're moving to Disney World, I don't necessarily think you need to bring like every single Disney thing that you own, especially because you're going to be getting a merchandise discount. You're going to buy a lot of things when you're in the parks or Disney Springs, so you don't need to bring every single thing that you own. If you're somebody like me that is probably going to overpack, I do suggest trying to bring things that you can store stuff in. I know for me, in my 2-bedroom apartment, we did have a decent sized closet, but the only other place where you have to like put things is a dresser that it's 6 drawers that you're sharing with another person. So basically you're each gonna get 3 drawers. The drawers are not very big, they're not deep at all, that you can't fit a ton in there. So if you know that you have a lot of clothes or a lot of things that maybe you don't need out all the time, definitely either buy once you get here or bring with you some other type of storage bins to put things in. I know for me, I had one of those little like 3-drawer things that everybody has in college. I kept one of those in my closet just to keep more clothes in. I had a couple different storage bins that I kept under my bed that had some of my like long sleeve things because Florida does get a little bit cold in the winter. Disney housing does not supply you with a TV for your apartment, so if you think you're gonna want one of those, that's definitely something that you need to bring on your own. My first 2 programs, I was the one that supplied a TV for the apartment. It was great, it was nice having one, it made it super easy for movie nights and that kind of stuff. During our last program, because I was only able to link with one other person and I didn't know if somebody else was gonna bring a TV or if we were even gonna like want to hang out in the living room if we didn't know our roommates yet. I did not bring a TV, so we didn't have one in the living room, and it ended up being totally fine. I obviously still had like my laptop, so if I ever wanted to watch anything I could, and me and Holly made our own makeshift movie nights in our room, propping up my laptop so that we could both see it. So that's something that if you have one available that you want to bring it, but it's not like an end-all be-all kind of thing. I feel like all of the other things that you're gonna need are the things that you can mostly buy there. You're gonna need things like Band-Aids or medicine, makeup, shampoo and conditioner, all of those kind of things. Especially if you're flying or you're trying to pack light, just go ahead and make a list of everything that you want to get once you're in Florida. I know for me, I went ahead like 3 days before my program, I went ahead and ordered a bunch of stuff online from Target and did like the order pickup, so that way as soon as I got to Florida, I didn't have to worry about, oh gosh, what am I supposed to find? And it was already cleared out because other CPs had been through. I just went ahead, had it all ordered, and on move-in day, I just made a trip to Target to pick it up, and it was all there they're waiting for me. I also recommend on move-in day, go ahead and have some sort of like disinfecting wipes or like spray and paper towels, because I know for me, especially with the pandemic that's going on, even before that, I like to clean everything before I move into a new place. I obviously trust that Disney cleaned and sanitized everything before, but just to be safe, I went ahead and wiped everything down before I actually moved any of my stuff in. So make sure as you're packing or before you unpack your car once you're actually in Florida, have that sitting on top so that you can do that as soon as you get there. Unfortunately, all Disney college programs must come to an end. And after 8 months or even 4 months living in one of those CP housing apartments, your stuff just seems to get everywhere and it gets super chaotic, and there comes a day that you have to pack it all back up. Disney does give you a day or two at the end of your program to pack everything. Most people, however, myself included, use those days to spend a full day in the parks one last time. That week or two leading up to the end of your program, it's really helpful if you go ahead and start packing all of your stuff, so that way you can get everything organized, go ahead and donate or sell some things if you want to, so that you don't have to bring it back with you and you're not scrambling to do it all at the last minute. I feel like you don't realize how much stuff you acquire in that time until it's time to pack it all back up, and especially if you're flying or your car was already crammed like mine coming down and you had to cram it again to go back home. Make sure that you go ahead and start planning ahead for that, so that everything is packed accordingly and not just thrown into bags where you'll never find it again. I think all in all, one of the most important things to remember about this program is how lucky you are to be working for the Walt Disney Company. The number seems to go up every year, but over like 20,000 people apply for this program and about 6,000 get accepted for every season. It really is a pretty competitive program, and it's something that not everybody gets the opportunity to do. So I think that's one of the most important things that I wish that I would have kind of known before my program, is to not take it for granted and really enjoy your time while you have it. That's not to say that you're not allowed to have bad or hard days, because obviously those are going to come too, but just remember how lucky you are to be doing this program and how hard you work to get there. I know this video was pretty unorganized and a little bit all over the place, but it was a lot of information that I thought was important to share with you and hopefully prepares you a little bit more for your DCP. If there are any other alumni of the program that have some tips they would like to share as well, be sure to comment those down below and everybody go and read them. And again, if you have any questions, I'm trying to respond to as many of them as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all again real soon. Bye!